Un poulpe sauvage. Comment ils vont? C'est ça la scène talk regarde. Il a l'air. J'aime trop cet active skill. Trop cette musique. Il est pas là? Ah si, c'est ça. Incroyable, non? Bon. On va avoir vu le film, mais... Il est là. Juste là. Boku no Banda. Oh, en anglais, c'est spécial Beam Cannon. Dramatique. Il fait que 7 dégâts, le bouffon. Allez, casse-toi de là, mon gars. Moi, c'est du 7 millions en red zone, mon gars. Salut, Clem. Du coup, bah, c'est bien que tu sois arrivé là. Clem m'a conseillé une chaîne il y a quelques semaines qui s'appelle Nexpo et c'est plein de trucs comme on aime, quoi. Et du coup, j'ai vu un truc sur des jeux de PS1. Je me suis dit que ce serait dans le thème, vu qu'en ce moment on joue à FF7, t'as vu? Je suis dégoûte avec ce temps. Dynamic Lights. Bon, je pense que par contre, je mettrai que ça aujourd'hui et je me barrerai parce que je suis cané aujourd'hui. J'ai pas beaucoup dormi. Hop. Ah, en fait, c'est mieux que je fasse ça. C'est vraiment ce casque, quoi. Voilà, c'est mieux. Bon, bah, let's go. Hein. Je suis pas du tout. Enfin, je pense savoir de quoi ça parle, mais j'ai avancé vite fait. Oh, c'est Silent Hill, ça. Donc voilà. Ça se trouve, c'est éteint de ouf, hein, mais je pense pas.
In the past few years, a trend has cropped up centering on something.
Désolé les non bilingues, sérieux quoi. Oh, c'est la musique de RE ça. Mais c'est pas RE du tout. Si?
It's a type of horror that is difficult.
Eh mais c'est une vraie trad.
It's one of those things where once you're in it and really stop and look around, it hits you. Allow me to introduce you to a little something called PS1 horror.
Salut la MILF. Alors c'est... c'est la MIF, si on parle bien de la même chose. Et en gros, le mec va nous parler de jeux flippants de la PS1 et sûrement il va expliquer pourquoi la PS1 fait autant flipper en fait. Et en vrai, moi je comprends parce que je trouve que la vibe des jeux d'horreur PS1 genre RE1 et Silent Hill 2, non, Silent Hill 1 pardon. Attends, je suis un ouf. Ou je crois que j'ai dit une bêtise de ouf. Silent Hill 1. Il est sur PS1, non? Oui, ok. Par contre, le 2 est sur PS2. Ok, c'est bon. Wouh! J'ai failli parler chinois, sérieux.
An entire genre rooted in the idea that, for those of us who grew up during the era, the ambience and graphic fidelity, or lack thereof, of popular PS1 titles had set a very specific mood that bordered on being unsettling, even if the source material wasn't. The maddening, low-poly silence of Shadow Man. The absolutely haunting rigidity of Juggernaut. and the surreal, unexplainable amalgamation that is LSD Dream Emulator has
What
made
the
for an
fuck?
entire generation of games so unintentionally scary that they've spawned an entire genre of modern titles that have set out to emulate the conventions the PS1 brought upon us.
Je sais plus qui m'expliquait ce bail de... En fait, ton cerveau... Genre si l'image elle est floue ou je sais plus quoi... En fait, ton cerveau va chercher à traduire l'information, mais il le fait de manière hyper pas logique, mais aussi justement, c'est très logique. Du coup, c'est pour ça que ça te crée un malaise en fait.
LucasArts are some of my personal favorites employing this style, and I highly suggest you check their games out if you're looking for more after this video. Tonight, however, I would like to focus on something special. A new Halloween tradition that I would like to start with you guys, centering on a little something called the Haunted PS1 Demo Disc.
Ah ouais. Le CD maudit. Les musiques de RE sont quand même archi incroyables hein, pour les compositions piano.
The Haunted PS1 Demo Disc is a collection of PS1-like demos curated each year into a free downloadable file on itch.io. These compilations began in 2020, intended to recreate the old-school feel of classic PS1 demo discs that were so incredibly popular back in the day.
Ah, les boîtes de PS1, j'adore aussi. Hein.
These, however,
Pardon.
lie in the fact that within those from Haunted PS1, the games are intricately crafted.
Par contre, c'était tellement pas solide.
To frighten you, to give you that sense that something isn't right.
Là, le pire, c'était les boîtes, genre, c'était les boîtes à plusieurs CD, genre FF7, 8, 9. C'était déjà une boîte en plastique et t'avais plusieurs CD, du coup, c'était horrible. Mais ça sentait trop bon, quoi.
For instance, in the 2021 release, the games were tied together through a very interesting hub world museum run by this cheeky fellow named Scully. He essentially gives us free reign to check out his barren museum, chock full of liminal spaces, a deafening silence, dim, unsettling lighting, and this unbridled sense that someone is watching us. It's a game within a game, and I think that's what makes the Haunted PS1 demo disc so special. They foster exploration, replayability, and consistent discovery at your own leisure. And even hold secrets for those willing to entertain the game's puzzles, because yes, these hub worlds have them, and yes, they're pretty damn cool. Now, with that being said, we are 3 years late to the party, and throughout the reign of Haunted PS1, tons of incredible experiences have come out of these annual releases. Tonight, you and I aren't just
Fais-le
going to
tourner
dive
encore plus
into this
longtemps,
year's
je vais
disc,
dégueuler, mec.
because we're doing all three.
Oh, jure.
Throughout the past month, I've gone and played through each demo that has come out so far, and have gone through the impossible task of hand-selecting 3 of my personal favorites from each year. You and I are going to go in chronological order from least to most recent in hopes of exploring some of the creepiest, most unique, and mind-melting experiences that have come out of this project so far. And so, we've got...
Alors, je me demande si... Bon oui, j'ai dû virer mon bloqueur de pub parce que je suis flag chez YouTube maintenant, voilà. Crevons l'abcès. En gros, c'est, d'après ce que j'ai compris, c'est chaque année, des mecs font des démos de jeux d'horreur en mode PS1, quoi. Après ce que j'ai compris. Et du coup, là, le mec a 3 années de trucs et il va faire un top 3 des 3 années et il va nous les présenter. Mais je me souviens qu'Hugo avait testé un truc dans le même genre. Sauf que il y avait vraiment un truc, il était terrifiant. Ça se passait au Japon. J'aimerais juste voir le nom du truc en fait. Savoir si c'est la même chose. Ouais, il a rejoué à Welcome to the Game d'ailleurs, faudrait que je finisse de mater. Bon, je crois que ça y est, c'est plus le jeu qui me fait le plus flipper. En fait, on a tellement, ça fait 6 mois, on regarde tellement de trucs chelous et tout que... Ah non, c'était Jean. Bon bref, je recheckerai, mais il y avait un truc d'horreur japonais, il était incroyable.
Over 3 years. So grab that candy bowl, shut off those lights and kick back. Because tonight, you and I are diving down the abyss.
On dirait vraiment... Oh, Limonade, Limonade. Bonsoir, merci du follow. J'espère que tu t'amuses bien sur Minecraft. Monsieur Lim. Ouh, les petits cœurs, c'est trop gentil. Ça va ou quoi? Ouais, je disais, putain, sa voix me fait... Je sais pas si c'est genre un archétype des chaînes dans ce genre américaine ou anglaise. Ou ça se trouve, le gars, c'est un FR parce que c'est traduit littéralement de l'anglais au français sur sa vidéo. Mais ils ont vraiment tous le même archétype de voix, genre. Très posé, gros compresseur, dictée lente.
You sit alone in your room. A dimly lit memory repeats in your head. 17 demos too horrible to describe keep you from your bed. Each one a personally crafted nightmare. You've tried to tell the others, yet no one understands. A CRT you don't remember owning flashes to life. Frozen in place, you look upon the flickering screen to spy a dismal, bloodied scene. A cracked and faded jewel case sits close beside. A pale gray plastic box sits in front, emitting a low whirring noise. Will you take to the controller, or let yourself be taken over?
Oh putain, je vais bander. Oh, je bande. Ah, est-ce que mon FF9 marche? Est-ce que mon CD1 marche? Il marche ou pas? Ouais, il marche. Oh, j'explose mon froc. Putain, on se le remet. Je vous jure qu'à chaque fois que je lançais ma PS1, j'avais un mélange de bonheur et en même temps ce jingle. Mais j'avais un problème avec les jingles quand j'étais petit. Le truc de Windows, c'est 98 je crois, il me faisait flipper aussi. Genre un mélange de bonheur et de malaise. Oh putain. Oh. Non, c'est vraiment un truc de ouf. C'est vraiment le meilleur. Ça et le truc de la GameCube, c'est les deux meilleurs, je pense. Wow, je connais pas celui-là. Tu vas me crier dessus ou pas? Ah, c'est vraiment l'esthétique des démos de l'époque.
Contrary to the others, unfortunately the collection for 2020 isn't banded together by any sort of fancy museum or mall. But that's okay, because we're here for the demos anyway. And also this menu is pretty damn cool.
Ah ouais, la DSL, putain, je me souviens, ça durait une plombe en plus, c'était Wanadu, non?
Created by a dev named B. Zaroza, and described as the following. Filth comes crawling out of the cracks.
Ouais, ouais, bien vu.
Let's get to it.
Il y a écrit musique mal à l'aise hein, pour le jingle de la PS1. Et donc il n'y a pas que moi qui se baille avec. Ah, bon.
Filthbreed is a short game, but is one that packs a hell of a punch. Here, we take the role of an amateur detective, dispatched to investigate a string of strange disappearances that have taken place around Detroit within the past few months. Reportedly, a truck driver named Louis Burton is the prime suspect. However, rumors have been circulating about
Comment ça, Louis avec un E? J'ai bien lu.
Is the prime suspect. However, rumors have...
Oh d'ailleurs, les guignols de ouf. Attendez, je vous montre. Je les screen mais je l'ai pas posté. Billion dollar compagnie, hein. By the way. Des milliards pour faire une faute d'orthographe de ouf comme ça, genre. C'est trop une
It's been
dinguerie ce site.
circulating
C'était
about him
Twitter,
being
hein, by the
abducted
way.
by this
Enfin,
strange
X, man.
group and held captive in an unknown location. Luckily for us, though, his semi-truck has been spotted near an old warehouse, and so we're sent to investigate.
Oh, c'est du FPS? Non.
Yeah, no.
Oh, let's
I'm
go. Wow, c'est très très clean pour de la PS1
Turn
par
back
contre.
straight away and tell your superior you found nothing. Your quick return and short report raises some eyebrows in the office, but nobody was buying that cult nonsense anyway. You feel like an absolute coward and quit the force shortly after. The trail goes cold, and the case is eventually archived.
Ah, donc le jeu, si tu te barres vraiment, il te dit... Ah ouais, c'est la première ending, incroyable. Ouais, t'as vu, c'est clean de ouf. Hein. Putain, elle a l'air trop bien la
Oh.
vidéo, ça m'a remis un boost.
There you go. Alright, for real. Yes, this game does have multiple endings, and yes, you can wuss out.
Alors, je vais avoir un avis très disruptif, je crois que c'est ça le mot, mais... Pour moi, un excellent jeu, soit il a qu'une fin, ou il y en a genre minimum 4 ou 5. Et genre, il n'y a pas d'entre-deux. C'est soit tu me présentes un truc à la... Et encore, FF7, ça change, mais... Soit tu me fais un truc à... Et même FF10, ça marche pas, en fait. Putain, mais il marche pas, mon truc. Quelqu'un a une idée d'un jeu dans le chat? Un stand-alone qui ne rentre dans aucune numérotation, aucun canon. Qui soit solide du début à la fin, avec une fin. Parce qu'en fait, j'y pense, mais du coup, pour moi, une fin, c'est il n'y a pas de suite. FF10, il y a une suite. Il y en a même 2. FF7, il y a beaucoup de suites. Il y en a même 3. Putain, j'y ai pas en fait. Je vais réfléchir.
For those willing to see what lies within, however, you're in for a ride.
Par contre, des jeux à fin multiples, j'en ai, y a pas de souci. Hein. Rien que les deux
We
Nier.
begin within a warehouse.
Pas de
It
saga,
seems to
rien
have
du
been
tout.
abandoned for
C'est genre le jeu il commence, il se finit. Et l'histoire elle est solide. Mais là vraiment, en fait, vu que je pars du principe que les fins ne sont pas. Enfin, les suites ne sont pas des fins.
quite some time. Trash lines the hallways.
Non,
and
ça
notes are
tourne pas. Mais je te
scattered.
dis, ça va jamais tourner. Ça tourne pas sur des PS1, c'est des compiles dans l'esprit de la PS1, mais ça tourne sur PC. Mais ouais, là c'est sous Unity, c'est beaucoup trop clean.
Giving us some backstory on the world being built here. Within them, we get references to people changing into something inhuman. Roaches breeding within a person's mouth.
Oh.
And even a mention of someone called the Lice Mother.
La reine des poux.
It's clear that something beyond our understanding has taken place here. And contrary to our initial belief, it seems like this place may not be abandoned. After all. After poking around a bit, we eventually encounter a gun. And, well, you know what that means.
Alors attends. Bon, déjà, c'est les bruitages de Silent Hill. Par contre, le mec est pas flic. Ah non, un détective amateur. Mais attends, un détective amateur, c'est bien dans la police américaine, justement. C'est genre, t'es détective, ensuite tu deviens capitaine ou commissaire, je crois, au-dessus. Genre, le gars, il vient, il n'y a pas d'armes, genre. Déjà, t'es tout seul, je trouve ça chelou. Bref. Oui, je suis chiant sur les détails, mais c'est mon métier, en fait.
A
Oh putain!
malformed human
What the fuck?
creature tries to pursue us. And after taking this guy out,
En fait, j'ai
we have
regardé,
the option
je
to
regardais ma run
progress
d'Okan,
or
j'étais en
end
dessous,
our
j'ai fait ça, je fais
journey
wow.
here. Going with the latter gives us an ending where our supervisor takes
J'ai un plus
over
beau cul,
after we
bref.
file a report. And ominously, after sending veteran officers in to investigate, they return with maimed legs, infested with a strange larva. They mention something about feeding mom. The case never makes the news, and we never return to the force. Ever again.
Mais pourquoi?
Upon heading back in and towards the back rooms, we'll begin to find that insects are slowly becoming more abundant. Weird sounds can be heard in various rooms, and this strange heat emanates through
Oh.
doorways.
Waouh, c'est très bien fait ça.
After heading upstairs, we encounter a podium holding a book with
Attendez,
text in
l'effet il met une claque à même des AAA là, c'est un truc
an
de
unknown
ouf.
language, because cult. However, where things really get squirmy is when we finally find the guy we were dispatched to catch. Immediately in front of him is a path to a basement, and upon exploring it, we realize that the place is heavily infested with massive insects that prowl the walls around us. Egg sacs adorn the floors,
Waouh.
and an unknown fluid resembling bile
Putain, une pluie de poggers.
festers at our feet. Unfortunately, there's not much else down here, and from this point, we're left with no other option but to leave, thus bringing us to our third and final ending. With this one, our supervisor
Vous
takes
saviez que dans Pity, donc le Playable Cheeser, le truc de Silent Hill, bref, vous connaissez Pity? En fait, la meuf vous suit en permanence derrière. Et en vrai, si après je suis pas trop, après cette vidéo, si je suis pas trop séché, on ira se faire une analyse in depth, en profondeur, de Pity. Ça fait longtemps que je voulais le faire. Et vu que le jeu, tu peux pas y jouer sauf si je rachète une console avec le truc direct. Bon, on va se faire foutre. Sinon, faut jouer à la démo sous Unity, mais
to report, even though it is
bon, c'est pas la
absolutely
vision
batshit
du
crazy.
mec complète.
And in response, he suggests that we take a
Hideo
break.
Kojima quand même.
We do, and come morning, we wake up to the news of a massive fire at the warehouse. Everything is gone, yet 12 inhuman shells of bodies have been recovered. And after its initial wave in the news, the case of Louis Burton is presumed
C'est pas
forgotten.
Louis, c'est Lou. C'est Loi. Louis. Musique mal à l'aise.
Filthbreed is a very effective, eerie little game based upon a grounded, relatable premise. I think what makes it so scary to me is the fact that this entire game feels like one very brief, yet disturbing nightmare that the protagonists can hardly wrap their mind around. The finer details of who these people are, why they're here, and what the fuck is going on with these parasitic larvae are never fleshed out. It's not even something we care to learn more about. Like any normal human being, the first thing we do is bury it, to get as far away as feasibly possible from ever reliving the hell we just went through by the hands of creatures completely alien to
Vas-y, mec,
anything
bonne
we have
balade.
ever known. I think the real horror of Filthbreed is that they have to live with that.
Ça roule, merci
With
du
knowing
lurk.
that something as disgusting and repulsive
Très
as
beau,
what they
vous êtes très beau,
witnessed
monsieur.
lives in the same world
Je
they
parlais
do.
pas du mec en sang, je parlais de Clem.
But given that they quit the Force and put it behind them, the rest of humanity is none the wiser. And they are left to fester.
Ouh. Putain, j'ai pu lire Les Sopranos.
Sam receives a strange tape in the mail. Watching it brings her back to a deeply unsettling place that seems strangely familiar.
Au moment, j'essaie de m'entraîner à parler légèrement. Oh putain. Oh. Je vais devoir changer de slip-bar. Hein. Je disais, j'essaie de m'entraîner à parler légèrement moins rapidement. Et à. C'est pour ça que peut-être que.
Heartworm is a very special game.
Enfin, disclaimer, peut-être que j'ai l'impression d'être un peu débile aujourd'hui, mais en fait, j'essaye de bien articuler et bien bouger ma bouche. Et en ce moment, j'ai des problèmes de diction depuis quelques jours en stream et ça me casse les couilles. Donc, on s'entraîne afin d'être un meilleur homme.
And is one of the more PS1-like projects that have
Même
come
si
out
je
of
suis
these
déjà
demo discs.
méga cool comme gars.
Created by one person named Vincent, the game dives into
Donc,
the
si je
inner
suis un peu
psyche
moins
and
frénétique
how
que
memories
d'habitude,
shape
c'est
who we
pour
are.
rebuild
Delivered with tank
de
controls and
l'élocution,
a
n'est-ce
fixed
pas?
perspective, we take the role of a woman named Sam.
Sam.
The game opens in her studio apartment, and it's like any other day. Things are quiet.
Par contre, autant j'adore l'esthétique PS1, par contre, putain de sa mère, les contrôles, vraiment, même RE2 à l'époque, même RE2 juste, OG, j'y joue pas. Hein.
Our book sits on the coffee table, and for all intents
Tant
and
quel jeu de
purposes,
fou, hein, mais...
life is painfully ordinary.
Life is life, la 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 la.
Curiously, near the back wall is a document, and after inspecting it, we learn that it's a clinician's evaluation for Sam. She's unfortunately undergoing severe symptoms from childhood trauma, including insomnia, intrusive thoughts about self-harm, low self-esteem, obsessions, panic attacks, and high baseline anxiety. Reportedly, these are chronic and are ever encroaching on how she lives her life. At the end of the document, they suggest that Sam tries exposure therapy, a form of treatment focused on facing the trauma source head-on. At this point, it's unclear how long it's been since she received this evaluation, or if she ever went forth to follow up on it. But what does become immediately clear is that we have a visitor.
Oh putain, les visiteurs. Ok. Oh.
We pick up the tape and place it into our VCR. Yet, instead of watching it,
Tu ouvres la porte, tu dis qu'est-ce que tu veux avec ta cassette, mon gars? Pourquoi? Comment ça, tu fous la cassette directement dans le truc? Genre là, je reçois un Blu-ray dans ma gueule qui vient de ma fenêtre, je vous jure que juste je vais voir le mec en fait. Je vais pas juste le mettre dans ma PS4 en mode oh putain, ça se trouve c'est Batman dessus. Non. Oh putain. Do you remember?
Before us is a large home with the phrase, "Do you remember?" draped along the fence. And with this message, the implications
Une
are
voiture de
clear.
flic.
Whatever happened on this tape is or is part of the childhood trauma that's been plaguing our entire life. After making our way inside the home, we
Putain,
find
je
that
trouve le
it's
jeu vraiment très bien fait par contre. La caméra est vraiment bien mise quoi.
strangely quiet. Novels about trauma-based hallucinations are scattered across the desk. The TV remains on with no one to watch it. And strange context clues like these track marks in this missing book plead for us to solve them. For most of the demo, puzzle solving is what we do. We take the key and make our way to the garage. We discover a novel about fearing death. We find the missing book. We unlock the basement. And towards the very end, we find a letter. Sam, I tried calling, but your phone's disconnected, and I didn't know what else to do. Everyone's worried. Your boss called Mom, and she said you stopped showing up. I called Jane, but she said she's not talking to you anymore. I know I haven't always been there for you, but if you need anything, I want to help. What's going on with you? Is this about what happened? It was 10 years ago, Sam. It's not your fault. You can't hang on to this forever. I love you. Please call me. Day. Following this, we proceed down an elevator, revealing a dreamlike path leading to yet another television. And upon turning it on, the device itself doesn't boot, but rather an alternative version of us. One that is out to harm us, to plague us,
Les
almost
textures
like
quoi.
a traumatic memory.
Ok.
The Heartworm demo is, by every stretch, a walking simulator that ends on a very effective cliffhanger. For those with a keen eye, however, an inventory system does exist, and in the full release, yes, there will be combat, and yes, the world becomes fully realized. Yet, even aside from all this,
Bah attends, le jeu
the
est
small
sorti?
snippet of atmosphere we got was masterful, and there were moments when I genuinely had to stop to soak it all in.
Genre c'est un vrai jeu ça. Je vais le faire moi. C'est quoi ce paste-bin là? D'ailleurs, si ça vous intéresse, j'ai fait un jeu comme ça, il est disponible sur mon YouTube, ça dure à peine 1h30. C'est dans la même veine, sauf que c'est un bug, il se retrouve dans une maison bizarre forcément. Très efficace, ça dure peu de temps en plus. 2 gros jumpscares qui m'ont fait me chier dessus.
The dev is a one-man team, and if you're interested in helping them realize this gem to its full potential, they welcome any and all help they can get.
Heartworm. Heartworm. Alors. Oh, ça me dégoûte. Steam. C'est sorti, mon gars? La vidéo date de quasiment un an. Deuxième trimestre 2024. Allez, je le mets en wishlist. Très bien.
Heartworm is a haunting A+ from me. Please play it.
Une fois stérilisé, votre chat peut garder son poids idéal.
Hop, je vous donne un tips. Voilà, comment passer les pubs. Et c'est vraiment des clowns YouTube parce que je suis pas un mec chiant avec les publicités ciblées si les publicités sont correctes. Genre sur mon téléphone, ça parle que de films ou de séries ou enfin des pubs, des bandes annonces, ce genre de trucs. Par contre, sur mon PC, je sais pas pourquoi, c'est pas du tout le même, les mêmes cookies, le même algo, je sais pas trop comment ça marche. Ah ouais. Musique rythmique sombre pour faire des bails sombres et démoniaques.
At this point, everyone knows about LSD Dream Emulator.
Non, je sais pas moi.
A surreal dreamlike walking simulator with no defined goal. To this day, it's one of the most recognizable video games ever made, primarily due to its randomly generated worlds, vivid colors, nonsensical textures, and other things living in the same world you do. All living their own life. All bearing a history of their own. All just existing. Forever.
Évidemment, j'arrive fonce-dé sous médicaments. Big up à mes ennemis d'avant. Sous la terre comme des mines allemandes.
A game developed by Modus Interactive and heavily inspired by LSD. From the get-go, the similarities are abundant. The main menu is the exact same, the visual style, the exact same, and the absolute off-the-rails inexplicable weirdness.
Par contre, la lune est rouge.
Yeah, it's there. Contrary to LSD, however, this build of Neko Yumi does have a defined goal, and that's to search for and catch 4 cats hidden throughout this world. At the game's beginning, we're dropped into a hub area with a large foreboding cat head staring down upon us. We initially have no idea who it is or what it's for. And who am I kidding? Making sense of anything in a game like this? Hopeless. To be honest, aside from running around and hunting down cats, there isn't much else to Neko Yumi. But I think that's okay, because the takeaway from its experience isn't so much about the gameplay, but the abstract environments given to us. As we explore, we'll notice that the day-night cycle slowly changes, and with it, each region inherits an entirely fresh, surreal feeling that maintains this odd sense of uniqueness, even when revisiting places you've already been to.
C'est pas très...
This game is one massive liminal space, compounded by the otherworldly NPCs and animals that we encounter along our journey. For instance, we find fish with cat ears, bizarre 2-legged cat heads bouncing around, to nothing. A lone random, forever fiddling with this marble.
Comment ça il joue avec son marbre?
Trapped inside hallways
Trop
with nothing
dégueulasse.
to watch.
C'est pas sérieux?
And massive godlike heads shooting off into nothing. This game isn't disturbing by any stretch of the word, but it instills this uneasiness due to how absolutely weird it is. Nobody with any sort of logic as we know it lives in this place. Yet at the same time, perhaps we're the outsiders, or even just as nonsensical to them as they are to us.
Mais tu peux canner?
What is normal in this world anyway?
Ah, dans le jeu, hein. Pique mes ennemis d'avant sous la
Neko
garde des
Yumi is a
Minamonde.
very brief game, yet it's one that I couldn't not talk about in a video like this. It's one of the most faithful recreations of LSD Dream Emulator that I have ever seen. And the bonus is that, hey, it's got cats, so that's pretty cool.
Après,
If you're in the mood for a
lève-la pas la
surreal,
gueule des
dreamlike
chats, hein.
trip into a world
Pardon, je
unexplainable,
suis désolé.
then this game awaits you with open arms. A full release is reportedly in the works, so hopefully in the near future, you and I can immerse ourselves into a fully realized world to really see what the inner confines of a cat's mind has in store for us.
Qu'est-ce qui se passe là? Je vais prendre une pub méta? Ah, ok. Ouais. Je suppose que c'est hors de prix, quoi.
It's 2021, and you awake to find yourself in a room swamped in
1998.
shadow. The memories of your arrival much too painful to confront in your uncertain state. The room is empty, save for one thing. A stone pedestal nakedly
Le
posing.
démo disque.
Something wants you to approach. And so you do. On the pedestal lies a lone, cracked jewel case. Your fingers run across the surface. Demo disc. Without warning, the darkness dies, sickly light flooding the room, and you find yourself in a massive building of stone walls and marble pillars. The air is cold, yet stuffy, as if you breathe gaseous dust. A showcase. You stand within a showcase. A showcase of curious remnants of the culture outside this place, of the culture you'll never return to. And the shapes inside the displays sting your eyes like glass needles. You are home.
Bah vraiment pas, hein. Ça ressemble pas à ça, quoi. Ma maison.
And so we make our way to Scully's Museum,
Puis j'en ai deux
a
maintenant.
masterclass in liminal atmospheric design and a long deviation from the simplicity of last year's disc.
Salut mon jeune, qu'est-ce que je peux vous servir? Ah non.
This place is grand and completely open for us to explore at our own leisure. Multiple
Hello,
floors,
stranger.
Showrooms, a bar, and incredibly done entranceways await.
Got rare
Wait,
things on
look at
sale,
this. They
stranger.
remade a whole creepy-ass arcade room to tie in with this one game. Remade a diner for this one. A mansion corridor for this one. And even this creepy-ass school hallway with the game's main character waiting on us with this one. Anyway,
Whoa.
what I'm getting at is that this world is filled with immersion and secrets that we can uncover. Most notably with an entire hidden game locked within this one PC. I'll leave cracking that secret to you guys though, because
no.
right now, you and I have other arrangements. The demos are calling. So, floor 2. Let's go.
Oh putain, c'est pas ça le truc Jap?
A demo for an upcoming horror game from Japan.
Oh putain, c'est lui! Oh, c'est lui! Oh, oh bah c'est
This
exactement
is a
ce qu'il a
game
testé.
with
Mais du
no
coup, c'était genre,
exposition
c'était pas Hugo.
And absolutely no instruction.
Eh, il est terrifiant ce jeu, je trouve. Ah, c'est trop bien, c'est ce que je cherchais tout à l'heure. Donc ils ont bien fait la démo 2021 du coup.
We play as a little girl, walking a city street in Japan. We don't quite know where we're headed. However, after a bit of exploring, a coin beckons for our attention.
Ouais, je me souviens de ce truc. Par contre, c'est plus beau que dans mes souvenirs.
Unbeknownst to us, though, picking this coin up has other consequences. For some reason, a disturbing demonic abomination is stalking us and wants us dead. Where does it hail from? Who cares? We have no idea. And all we can do is hide.
Par contre, c'est marrant,
And
c'est
if
un...
we dare run within its
Vous
proximity,
entendez le bruit là?
who cares? We have
Ça?
no idea.
Ça c'est
All
le...
we can do is hide.
Ça c'est le bruit des Endermen dans Minecraft. Qui a été légèrement tuned down.
And if we dare run within its proximity,
Je crois que le jumpscare quand il... Il est vénère le jumpscare quand tu te fais choper, je crois. Non? Ah ok, dans ma tête, de tête, on se prenait un gros visage à la gueule. Tant mieux. Là, si ce jeu est complet, il y a un monde hein, où on le sèche. Hein.
as we explore this rich environment, we'll happen upon a few curiosities, like this vending machine harboring a key. As it turns out, it costs 100 more yen than we currently have, and so we're left to try our luck, avoid this monster, and see if we can find another coin. After heading past the back alley, we eventually find it, and so we're able to grab that key that we have absolutely no context about. Meanwhile, the demon can be seen, constantly stalking us, and unlike other games that employ the same mechanic, the fixed perspective combined with the awkward control scheme makes for an experience that is horrifying. At all times, you're able to see the monster in frame, even if it can't see you, and this makes for one of the most unique feelings of dread and anxiety that I have ever experienced in a horror game.
Ah non, qui a été tune up plutôt. C'est un peu plus aigu que dans Minecraft, j'ai l'impression. C'est vraiment la même chose par contre.
Speaking of perspective,
Par contre, c'est non, on dirait.
towards the end of the demo, you'll stumble upon an alleyway. However, contrary to how the game's been presented this entire time, for a brief moment, we take the perspective of the monster while still controlling this little girl. It is one of the most fascinating gameplay sequences that I have ever seen, and the anxiety that
Ça
comes
fait
from
penser à la
this
scène au
quick
début
15-second
d'Halloween, le
snippet
film.
of gameplay can and will spike through the roof. Eventually, we make our way out of its reach and into a home. The words "Type It" adorn the back wall, and on the TV screen in front of us is a message. Can you hear me? Can you feel me? My voice coursing through your fingertips. Unfortunately, at this point, we're pretty much left here with nothing to do. And if we leave the confines of this home,
Ah oui, carrément.
we again meet our demise. Walk is one of the most haunting experiences you can play, and I think it's because of its simplicity. The consistent, foreboding atmosphere, the intricately crafted set design utilizing rich color in each new area, the lack of direction or sense of place in this world, these claustrophobic streets devoid of anyone to help, and this disturbing, unknowable demon that is always in view and that will get you, makes for a horror experience that is phenomenal. Whether actually a demo or a standalone release of a completed game, Walk shines on every front, and absolutely commands a spot as one of the greats.
Le jeu est
Please
fini
play
ou
this
pas?
game. You won't regret it.
Walk Steam. C'est jouable ça?
Chez Auchan, nous sélectionnons avec soin des produits frais, sains et délicieux. Cultivons le bon, c'est notre engagement à vous proposer des produits responsables au meilleur prix, respectueux de l'environnement et des agriculteurs. À découvrir sur Auchan.fr et dans vos magasins Auchan participants.
Enfin, hein. Dommage.
Take on the role of the detective as you delve
Take
into murder, kidnapping, and other
on
atrocities,
me.
all at the behest of
Take
frogs.
on me.
You guys ever been to a trailer park in Ohio? Created by a studio named DevHour Games and inspired by sci-fi titans like the X-Files and Deus Ex, Loveland puts us into the shoes of an unnamed detective dispatched to investigate a myriad of bizarre
Tiens,
disappearances
j'ai déjà entendu
and
cette
potential
phrase.
cult activity taking place within a rural trailer park.
Vraiment beaucoup entendu
Reportedly,
cette
a
phrase.
once renowned church pastor has, out of nowhere, undergone a sudden personality change, now spewing bizarre rituals and outlandish sermons surrounding the many frogs that reside in the area. We have no idea why, and it sounds crazy, but we got a call about it from Trailer
Oh.
102.
Pareil, j'ai vu Hugo et Gomard jouer à un autre truc et ça me fait penser à ça. C'est un jeu d'anthologie. Donc en gros, une anthologie, c'est plusieurs histoires, c'est une compilation de plusieurs histoires qui ne sont pas reliées entre elles. Black Mirror est une série d'anthologie par exemple. Et c'est un peu cette esthétique-là. Et pareil, c'était très flippant. Il y avait un truc qui était... tu jouais une meuf qui est dans un motel bizarre. Et en fait, dans ta chambre de motel, t'as un stalker qui vient, mais parfois il vient juste, genre il passe, il s'en va, enfin il y a plein de trucs. Je me demande si c'est pas ça.
And so we're left to track them down,
Je pense pas.
ask some questions, and figure this mystery out.
For the last couple of months, there have been several missing persons reported out of Loveland, Ohio. Initially, we had
Loveland.
very little to go on until
Loveland.
about 1 week ago. Mr. Buchanan, a resident of a small trailer park on the outskirts of town, contacted the Loveland authorities to report strange happenings from within the park. He claimed that the other members of the community had begun worshipping frogs and had formed a cult whilst also kidnapping the
Crazy
local
Frog,
townsfolk.
wouhou!
We are dispatching you
Come
to
on, Yellow Pool.
investigate these reports and determine exactly what it is we are dealing with. Good luck, detective. We know you'll need it.
Des Crazy Frog partout.
Once we make it to Loveland Cove, we're left with none other than to investigate by going door to door to see what exactly is going on here. Surely there's some logical explanation for all this. I hope. Oddly, nearly every single trailer that we check out yields nobody, leaving us with no other option than to break and enter each one.
Par contre, si tu te fais...
The interesting part about Loveland is that each trailer contains its own mini story in a way. And through context clues and notes scattered
Si se fait
throughout these
tracer par
homes,
une grenouille
we're given
géante,
bits and pieces
bon,
of the fallout that took place before we got here.
casse un écran quoi.
For instance, within what looks like the home of a hoarder, we find a newspaper clipping detailing the rising number of missing people in Loveland. Yet on their fridge, they call Jeremiah from Trailer 104 a traitorous bastard before ending their to-do list with none other than to bathe in his glory. It's a little weird.
Ah bon?
Once we make our way to Trailer 102, the source of the phone call, the front door's open. I mean, it seems like someone's home. So let's see.
Ouloulou.
The TV plays to no one.
Il y a du sang sur le côté de la
The
télé,
phone
non?
is off the hook.
Ah non, c'est l'effet...
The bedroom lies a wreck. Freshly cooked dinner sits on the table. And in the kitchen sits a recipe for something called frog repellent. Trailer 104 hides a key. And upon finding a crowbar and using it on this door, we encounter that traitorous bastard Jeremiah. Yet he's left in a trance by the hands of someone unknown. It's small snippets like this that drive this game forward. We're lured in by a mystery, by the social dynamics at play between these residents, and this game does a fantastic job at setting a very specific mood and executing that. Eventually,
Ça marche
we
sûrement.
find that a concoction known as frog shine is present in nearly every home, and through notes we find later on, it almost seems like this stuff brainwashes those who drink it. Reportedly, it causes euphoria, followed by a strange desire to keep drinking more until you are completely assimilated into the form of thought that the cult's leader, named Pastor Abram, desires. We find that cult members go as far as to serve it to people at local bars. Contrary to basic ethics, they give it to kids to force them to join their cause. And to those of you that are trying to get in their way, well, you just haven't found the Lord yet. You're a heathen, muddying his word, a sinner who will never be saved. It's clear that these residents are in past the point of no return, and as we explore, we'll find various pieces of a medallion that unlocks the gate to Pastor Abram's home. Once we head up there and explore it, we find more religious texts focusing on the Great Flood, a mysterious, unnamed VHS tape, and weirdest of all,
Wow. Ok.
a surveillance room. For some reason, the game stops us before we can investigate, instead dropping us here, our agency HQ, with no one around.
Interrogatoire Ouroboros, c'est écrit en bas à gauche. C'est un indice.
You know, it's strange because it almost seems like we're more of a prisoner than an agent. But hey, that's just me.
Good evening, Detective. We hope your investigation was a success. Please have a seat. Thank you, Detective. Now, our line of work is very dangerous, especially to those with a weak mind. To combat this, we employ the use of sodium pentothal. Think of it as a kind of truth-telling serum. Now, Detective, please take the pill on the desk, place it into your mouth, and then swallow it.
From here, we're left with no other option but to take that pill, forcing us to tell the truth as if we wouldn't have already. Yet before we get context on what that's for or why we're here, the Loveland demo
Oh jure.
draws to its end.
Ça sort ou pas? Wishlist, je vois.
You know, Dev Hour is pretty damn good at cliffhangers because I have so many questions.
C'est vraiment pas le bon truc à ouvrir, quoi. Steam.
In one of the homes, we find a note referencing a ritual taking place at the lake. And for a brief moment, we see figures walking in the distance, as if we're being watched.
Loveland.
A bedroom transformed into a mini swamp
Ça
awaits
existe pas!
as if the resident living here became
J'ai rien dit.
this.
Sors quand?
This sketchy resident wants us to kill Jeremiah. lest he ignores us and hides in darkness.
Attendez, quoi?
Came this. This sketchy resident wants us to kill Jeremiah, lest he ignores us and hides in darkness. This home was ravaged, leaving behind insects and religious imagery. When playing this game alone, discoveries like this set a mood that just bleeds mystery and intrigue. And interestingly, every action you take can cause the game to play out in unique ways. Through dialogue choices and the interactive phone system, we're able to unlock various items that we can use to uncover more about the story. Unfortunately, in my experience though, I found that the ending is all the same. I guess that's the hallmark of a good demo, because I genuinely want to uncover this story. Pastor Abram is doing things unforgivable, catalyzed by sermons completely outlandish, and I really want to know where he is. Where everyone is. And how the hell we got here.
On va y aller pour transformer des humains en grenouilles. Oh, j'ai vu un bout passer, non?
Know where he is. Where everyone is. And how the hell we got here.
Ah non, ok. C'est juste la fenêtre qui glitch un peu.
Step into your chamber. Let her do the rest.
Ok. Oh putain. Toc 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 toc. Toc 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 toc.
Escape to a paradise previously only possible in
Wow. C'est luminal, hein. In my DNA. Wow. Oh, ça a vraiment le don de me mettre mal à l'aise. Bah, vous le savez, de toute façon, à force de faire des réactions, ça.
Echostasis comes from Enigma Studios and centers around artificial intelligence and its relationship to the human mind in the far future. In a way, it's like Soma combined with Observer in the sense that in this timeline, the development of AI has reached such a point to where the concept of a virtual utopia can be promised to those willing to experience it. If you've ever played Observer, however, then you know that when artificial intelligence and the human form combine, the result is detrimental.
Ow, mes yeux! L'observeur, faudrait que je le fasse aussi. J'ai vu le début chez Titavion à l'époque, mais j'ai pas continué.
What the fuck just happened? How did it get here?
Matriarch, give me the duration of the last sequence.
You were connected for 16 minutes and 43 seconds, real time.
16 minutes? Am I losing it?
Our journey begins with a tutorial. We're dropped into a dreamscape with a foreboding sarcophagus in the distance, and communicating directly with the player is some sort of sentient program. They inform us that we need to help them to establish something called echostasis by reclaiming this land, even though this reality is apparently not our own. And so, with what appears to be an angel in the far distance, we find a shotgun and fire at it, unleashing something beyond our level of comprehension.
C'est assez terrifiant, ouais. Hein. Wow! toujours le jeu là?
We find ourselves in what
Ah,
appears
ok.
to be base reality.
Putain.
At least, in some aspects. The rest of the game takes place inside this chamber, and upon looking around, it's clear that life as we know it has progressed beyond a point of recognition. AI terminals command the world. Humans exist in delicate pods, living within an algorithmically generated utopia designed to maximize the output of dopamine and serotonin. Advertisements promise an entire new world, and something is wrong. A cyber attack has taken place inside someone's chamber, and we're tasked as an engineer with helping to solve that problem. Interestingly, we're able to interact with this terminal in the form of specific inputs, and entering terms like echo and utopia generate dumps of lore that are pivotal in world building. The way it works within ecostasis starts with the human mind.
Il y a un autre jeu dans le même
Upon
genre
entering
qui
a
marche
chamber
comme ça. Ah
or
bah c'est
pod,
The
a
Witness,
new
non?
reality,
Non, je
known as an
confonds.
echo,
Le jeu où
is
tu joues un
generated
robot là.
based upon your cerebral profile. Initially, it begins as a copy of reality as
The
we know
Witness,
it.
non?
However, over time, it'll slowly morph into something that will maximize the entertainment and pleasure of you. Echostasis, however, is something that you do not want. It's the point to where the connection between the human mind and body, known as a core, are severed, forever locking a version of your consciousness within their world, and in turn leaving your physical body completely brain dead. After poking around a bit, we learn that the human in that pod is subject number 65, and after entering their ID into the terminal, we find that they're undergoing a slow but steady echostasis without even knowing it. This subject is so distracted within their perfect utopia that they haven't even realized the finer details corrupting
Windows
before
12
them.
enfants. Ouais.
The good news is that we can help, and so we utilize a tool known as Dreamscape to jack into their mind to find their core and to reestablish
the
that
core.
connection.
Me fais piper. Ah.
Curiously, we only have 1 full minute to explore their mind, yet are given unlimited opportunities to try this. And so, with trial and error, we're able to speedrun this environment, unlocking shortcuts for our next run, and discovering paintings and artifacts from the depths of their psyche. Eventually, we find their core, and much like the beginning, a shotgun is given to us. Once we take it, we use it on this thing at the request of the AI. However, the result of our actions just might have killed them.
Wow.
Might. AI. However, the
Ouais,
result of our actions
je pense que le virus, ça doit être un truc religieux, non?
Once we take it, we use it on
Dans ce
this
jeu, en tout cas.
thing at the request of the AI. However, the result of our actions just might have killed them.
Eh ben. Là, j'ai un petit frisson, là.
We're then thrown back into base reality, with everything awry. We are complicit in this. Echostasis was successful.
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a, Clem?
We have committed murder.
Ok. Oh, t'as raté le jeu Jap dont je parlais au
You
début
guys
du stream.
know that I am an absolute sucker for sci-fi
C'est
horror,
Walk.
and Echostasis
C'est
nailed
ici.
it with flying colors. The musical score, the real-life implications of our actions, The world's so far
En
removed
tout cas,
from
celui-là,
ours,
c'est un des
and the
meilleurs des
natural
vidéos pour l'instant.
apprehension of listening to the
terrifiant, je
demands
trouve.
of an AI makes for a surreal, disturbing experience that provokes thought and introspection. When I was interacting with that terminal, I was picking its brain on this world's lore, and it said something that stood out to me more than anything else. First, we had algorithms that would simply suggest media that a user may like. Then, these algorithms learned how to generate this media themselves. Today, the echo represents the natural conclusion of this process.
Tiens, bizarre.
An entire reality
Ça me rappelle un truc.
algorithmically generated from the user's cerebral profile. Our algorithm stands as the very best in artificial intelligence. We are very proud of her. Humanity has lost touch with itself to algorithms.
Ça, c'est qu'une question de temps, les gars. Hein.
Singularity.
Ça,
has
c'est une
long
bombe à
been
retardement
reality.
pour nous, en vrai. Hein.
But at that point,
Parce que techniquement, on est déjà à l'étape 2 parce qu'on arrive à générer des musiques et tout, et des images avec les IA. Surtout les musiques, c'est affolant, je trouve. Musique énervante. Ok, je suis énervé là de
before
ouf.
time, the mall stood king among shopping locales. People of all kinds flocked to them, swarming store after store, purchasing copious amounts of tie-dyed fabric and greasy food and novelty knives. But now the people are dead, and the corporate catacombs stand
Whoa.
silent. Their only customers now are rats and cockroaches. Of late, though, there have been murmurs in the emptiness, flashes of too bright colors, flickers of wires and flesh, strangled electric sounds, almost like screams. Your town bore one such decrepit mall, a hopeful tourist destination long since abandoned by the few teens that frequented it. Yet you find yourself standing before it in the gloom for the first time in years. Lights flicker from within, tinny music emanates from disconnected speakers, and a phrase burns in your mind as if carved with a burning knife.
What I am doing here? Can I go, please? Ouh, la musique de fantôme. Ouh, ça fait trop.
This game's atmosphere is incredible, knocked out of the park by this opening foyer that is full of endless darkness.
Ok.
Curiously, it becomes immediately clear that there's a mystery here. Doors are chained up, storefronts are blocked off, and an entire upstairs area beckons, yet there's no way to currently get there. And so we're effectively given two options. We can entertain the mall's secrets and unlock its puzzles, or we can dive straight into the demos available to us. If we go with the former, we'll discover hidden items that unlock specific doors, introducing us to a sprawling network of claustrophobic hallways, reminiscent of Scully's museum. What they've done with this is amazing, and as a fan of old rudimentary graphic fidelity, everything here just feels off in the very best way.
Ça, c'est fort, hein.
But while I could rave about this mall for another half hour, you and I are here for something else. So with that being said, I would like to make our way towards the first game on our last disc, Mothered, so we can finally see what's in store for us.
Eh, vous avez compris? Voir ce qu'ils ont en magasin pour nous, parce que c'est dans un centre
A
commercial.
young girl named
Hé hé.
Leona arrives home after major
Hé hé.
surgery
Oui,
and is
yo.
met with a strange mannequin claiming to be her mother. You remember those eerie liminal 3D concept renders from the mid-80s?
Quel enfer. Ça marche, mec.
Imagine that, combined with the bizarre, awkward FMVs that were prominent in PS1 titles back then, and that is what you get with the visual style in Mothered.
Ok.
And trust me, it makes for a combination that is absolutely chilling.
C'est un RPG. C'est un RPG, Francesco. Par contre, qu'est-ce que ça me trigger les jeux où les personnages ne parlent pas dans une langue normale, genre. Pas Assassin's Creed, n'importe quoi. Animal Crossing, par exemple, ou les Sims. Soit faites-les parler normalement, soit les faites pas parler. Mais les faites pas Zelda, c'est pareil aussi. Ta gueule, genre, je peux lire au pire.
We begin the game in a car, where with our father, and he claims that he picked us up from major surgery. Oddly, he makes bizarre claims, like the fact that we'll have to stay with Mother in order to get back to our normal self, and that he's glad he got us out of that place.
Ouais, j'ai imité le truc d'avant, ouais.
Even stranger, we never see his face, and towards the end of our drive, he gets incredibly weird about how everything he and our mother do is for us.
Vas-y, mec, bon Waven.
I could be way overthinking it, but it almost seems like he wasn't supposed to pick us up. Like,
Qu'est-ce
why
qu'ils
did he
sont
have to
nuls,
stay
les
with
Black
Mother?
Goku, putain de merde, quoi.
Why does that sound so strange?
Comment on peut être si nul? Ouais, c'est toujours le même
Eventually, we
pop-up
make our
en
way
plus.
home, and our dad tells us to bring him a box. We head in, and from
Tu vas
here,
voir, il est trop bien
we
le
get
jeu
our
des
very
BZ.
first look at what I was talking about earlier.
Genre là, le Black Goku, il est en full Link. Avec un autre Black Goku qui est LR en plus. 2 doublons. Les deux sont 2 doublons, ils tapent même pas le million dans le détecteur.
Tell me this art style isn't unnerving
Holy
as all hell.
shit. Bon alors qu'est-ce qui se passe?
Eventually, we find the box, take it outside. Our dad
Whoa.
leaves without giving us a hug, and we make our way back in. Eerily, Mother is nowhere to be found.
Ouais, la vide est trop
and
bien.
we can hear crying
Elle est trop
from a
bien la chaîne
bedroom.
du mec.
Even more perplexing, the bathroom mirror is taped up, supposedly for our own good. And in the far distance, we can see a foreboding barn engulfed in flames.
Putain, le...
So, what in the world is going on here?
J'arrive pas à
Why
comprendre
is
les décors.
everything so
Parfois on dirait que c'est de la 3D, parfois on dirait que c'est de la 2D.
off?
En tout cas, le papier peint est dégueulasse. Ça nous perd un tiers de quoi? De la vidéo? Celle-là?
It's a happy morning. The birds are singing. The sun is shining. We're alive. And making us breakfast is none other than...
Bah, t'as raté. Je crois que t'as raté le CD2. Wow! T'as raté le CD2. Là, si elle se retourne et qu'elle me court vite dessus, je peux crier. Wow! Wow! Recule-toi vite, Marus! Oh, ça m'énerve de ouf. Je pense que c'est pour ajouter du malaise. Ah ouais? Putain, pour le coup, ça marche pas du tout sur moi, ça me... Autant pour les images, je peux comprendre, mais autant pour le bruit, moi, ça m'énerve de ouf, en vrai. Ça marche pas du tout.
Mom's gotten a little weird.
Par contre, il y a des...
And our breakfast?
Là. Les keufs, là.
Weird.
Regardez.
And our breakfast? Mom's gotten a little
Les
weird.
flics, ça.
And our breakfast?
Putain, c'est de la
Touching
coke.
us.
C'est de la coke. Ah. Un peu de coke, ma fille.
On Monday afternoon, Mother gives us a tour of the home.
Oh, Goku divin.
She explains various house rules, like how we're
Koeda
forbidden from entering the
Pawada.
downstairs bathroom, forbidden from entering our brother's room, and once again, that the mirrors are covered for our own good. At this point, it's really making me wonder what it is she's hiding from us. This game is like a weird mesh of illusion of bias and Goodnight Mommy.
Wow.
And this idea culminates in
C'est
it's
quoi
really
ça?
making me wonder what it is she's hiding from us. This game is like a weird mesh of illusion of bias.
Qu'est-ce que je vais écrire comme horreur? Ça a l'air
Bias and
horrible.
Goodnight Mommy.
Good night, mommy. Ça, par contre, ça me parle.
What do you think she... The barn. And my bedroom. Off limits.
Eh, c'est le kid qui joue dans The Boys. Ouais, ça c'est Goodnight Mommy.
Don't you think something's different?
C'est pas leur daronne? Putain, mais attends, il a un jumeau dans la vraie vie ou c'est lui en jumeau? En tout cas, c'est le gamin d'Homelander dans la
I think
série.
that's our mother.
Aouh! Oh, cette merde.
You're not our mother.
Say it! You are my mother! You are my mother!
Ouais. Moi, je n'y arrive plus, ces films d'horreur là. En fait, le problème, c'est que déjà, j'ai vu tout le speech dans la bande-annonce. Je vois pas quel twist peut me faire me dire waouh, à la fin du film, c'était cool. Et putain, sérieux,
This
les
idea
bandes-annonces quoi.
culminates in its purest form on Monday night, when we're just about to get ready for bed.
Oh la pute. Oh, elle est terrifiante là. Ouais. Ouais. Quoi? Boum, 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 boum.
Admittedly, Mother keeps things pretty
En
abstract.
fait, je m'attends
yet her
juste à ce que ça me crie
delivery
dessus.
was absolutely haunting. Something about looking up at a massive, alive and foreboding mannequin staring down upon you and airing out their life regrets just instills me with this feeling of dread that I haven't entertained in quite some time. Eventually, Mother tucks us in and we head to bed. And the next day, we're tasked with meeting her outside for a chat. Here, she goes on this long spiel about her orchard and how it was the one thing in her life that allowed her to feel a sense of control. To look at this orchard, you don't see all the heartbreak that was involved in creating such beautiful life. Creating an environment where they can thrive and come to their own. Spending your energy on helping them grow, only to have to dispose of the failure. That's where our hope comes in. And I have hope.
Mais t'es pas un mannequin?
It's a strangely profound method of thinking for something like an orchard, and it makes you ponder if she may be referencing something else entirely.
Une fois, j'ai touché les
During
seins d'un
this demo,
mannequin
however,
à qui habille
we're
quand
none
j'étais
the
petit.
wiser, since this
Voilà.
idea is never fully realized.
Pas ouf
Yet
l'anecdote
that
en vrai.
question bothered me. We then meet Mother behind the house. She shows us the barn before. This happens.
Et ça le dégène. Bah, j'étais petit, je voulais checker. C'est normal. C'est peut-être là que j'ai connu ma première grosse honte. Ah. Allez, il va peut-être... Comment ça, Tuesday evening?
It's like analog horror in a video game format, and this single event makes the context behind the barn fire that much more ominous. From here, we're left to poke around the house at night. It's strangely quiet. Yet, for the very first time, our brother, surprisingly, has some words for us.
Je les colle, hein, que ça allait me crier dessus, c'est sûr.
This entire time, Mother has been feeding us dirt, and we've been taking it like it's normal.
C'est un mannequin.
Needless to say, everything about this family is far from that.
Pourquoi elle est aussi bien animée
Whether
là?
this reality is even real or not quickly gets called into question. We never see ourselves eat. We never see Mother make breakfast, and we never even saw ourselves pull up to this home in the first place. Also, down the hallway, someone is watching. So we approach.
Wow, 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 wow. Wow, c'est fort quand même, hein.
Mother sucks up to us.
Wow,
explaining
comment ça?
how she's always
Que
preferred
par-
the apples
Comment ça?
Mother sucks up
Comment ça, maman nous suce?
to us, explaining how she's always preferred the apples we picked instead of our brothers.
Pas sûr du sous-titre,
Before
quoi.
telling us to talk to him. We head over, and he knows it. It's almost like it's a routine he's been through a million times.
This is your last night. Oh, Serge Mito. Alors là, gars. Alors là, elle se met à nous jeu. Elle commence à me su, gars.
As the demo draws to an end, reality distorts further and further while we're given conflicting commands, almost like weather service from Local 58. There's some sort of conflicting AI dynamic at play here, and it almost seems like none of who we thought we were was ever true.
You.
And at the very end, it finally clicks.
Lose yourself in your dream existence.
So, Mothered is a game from Enigma Studios, the same group who brought us Ecostasis. And after experiencing this ending, the connection between them is clear. An entire overarching story is at play here, likely involving the AI system we saw back in Ecostasis.
Ah, par contre, j'allais dire que ça me saoule parce qu'il n'y a pas de vraie fin, mais en vrai, si c'est connecté, ça tue.
Because the full release of Mothered has actually been out for over a year.
Ah ouais?
If you've beat it, what happens here is not the game's end, because instead, it unlocks an entire sequel, all with a massive continuation to this story, and all tying in to the other masterpieces from this game developer. It almost pains me that I can't delve into this further tonight, as this segment could easily go on for another half hour. What I will say though, is that in the very near future, you will be seeing more from Ecostasis, Mothered, Enigma Corp, and the grander storyline at play here.
Putain, il est cher, hein.
This is like one massive
Il est quasiment à 10 balles, le
analog
jeu, là.
nightmare. Yet it's
S'il
one
dure
that
1 heure et
I'm
demie,
thrilled to flesh
bon.
out in proper detail. For now, though, please try this demo out. Hell, try Echostasis and envelop yourselves in their world. You and I will be back real soon. You can count on it.
Ouais, c'était pas mal. Il y a des trucs qui m'énervent, mais ça a l'air pas mal. Mais du coup, j'espère qu'on pourra. Je l'ai mis dans. Wouh! Putain, elle dure 3 minutes la pub. Putain, l'algo il sait ce que je fais. Hein.
All you have to do is bring up a synth, drag the progression in, and now we have a chord progression to work with. Like that's fire.
C'est trop bien cette pub. Like, attendez, je veux encore un autre. Je veux un autre beat. Je veux un autre drum pattern. Wouh! Je vais faire de la musique après. Non, c'est une pub, ouais. Bah, vu que je vous ai dit, la technique pour pas se prendre de pub, c'est de les bloquer sur navigateur. Il y a l'air qu'il commence à essayer de faire les choses bien, l'algo, pour pas que je skip tout. Na, 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 na. Wow! Eh, c'est Five Nights at Freddy's ou quoi? Ah, c'est très... Il y a beaucoup de bruit sur l'image.
It goes without saying that
TGDG
the art style
banni.
Gob utilizes is definitely its strong suit. Taken stylistic cues from previous horror titles like Garage Bad Dream Adventure or thrown into a grungy, hyper-detailed world that feels so incredibly lived in that from the very
C'est trop une dinguerie de
first
cette fait ban 15
we
jours pour
feel
ça.
like we're in a place far
Franchement.
removed from home.
Par contre, montrer ton gros trou du cul de sale pute, c'est 3 jours. Hein. Bien écarté là.
We take the role of Gob, an ordinary dude living in an extraordinary location. And the premise is simple. He's hungry, and so we're left to solve that problem. To find food. Somewhere.
Un sale dégueulasse,
Upon
Rémi.
poking around our home, we learn that we can not only crawl around to reach hidden spaces, but we'll also need to keep a keen eye out for items scattered around the environment itself.
Bon, il y a sûrement une addiction au cul, ce mec, c'est ça qui va nous avouer.
Very much, and that's this incredibly hyper-realistic first-person view of whatever item it is we're examining. Whether it be a doorknob, or fridge, the toilet, or some shelves, all of them are shown to us with such intricate detail that we feel it to our absolute core. After making a contraption to knock the rust off our front door, we learn that outside is a sewer. We're living underground, yet aren't quite sure why or if anyone else lives here too.
C'est la même vidéo, ouais. Comme je l'ai dit, c'est pas des jeux sur PS1, c'est des jeux dans l'esthétique de la PS1, mais c'est sur PC.
However, learn that
il vit où ce mec là?
Coin. Beside the vending machine is a cat hiding a key, and after taking it, we realize that we can use it on the door next to our home. And so we make our way out.
Putain, je vois pas je vois pas quels sont.
Connecting our world to theirs is a grabber.
Lost file.
Taking this item back to our place allows us to catch a coin from our shelf. we're gonna
Mais
get
du coup, ça s'est amélioré Waven ou pas? Sur les maps et tout. Genre, c'est un peu plus... C'est un peu plus organique la manière dont tu te déplaces de map en map, ou ça fait vraiment jeu mobile tout pété où il faut faire 3 étoiles sur chaque map et ciao. Bon, par contre mec, t'habites explose là la truc. Ah.
God, I feel for him, man. That sucks. You might notice something off to the right there, because those symbols are on the vending machine. It's a code, and so we enter it, revealing a hidden path. Very unfortunately.
Ah, quand Dokkan il crache en plein milieu d'une run, ça me casse les couilles. En fait, je trouvais que ça faisait trop jeu de cartes le jeu. Du coup, j'avais pas envie d'y jouer. Trop jeu de cartes mobile. Mais pas gacha, genre. Putain, c'était de la merde à chier ça. Ah non, non, si. Unforgettable experience. Mais c'est complètement anecdotique. C'était nul de ouf ça. Bah, gacha, je suis pas d'accord. Y a pas de mécanique de gacha dans le jeu, si? Ou c'était pas dispo pendant la bêta? Qu'est-ce qui se passe?
Hello everyone. I bet you're wondering why.
Salut mec. Enchanté de te rencontrer.
October 28th. It's 10:30 at night.
Ouais, mais attention. Un looter, c'est pas un gacha, Clem.
Out in 3 days.
Ah, attends. Ah ouais? Ah bah ça a changé. Attends, my bad. Ça a changé de la bêta du coup. Moi, les cartes, je me souviens que je devais les farmer sur les niveaux. Mais il n'y avait pas de taux d'apparition. Ah, ok. Ouais, donc s'ils ont mis les mécaniques de gacha, s'il y a des lootbox. Que moi, du coup, quand j'y jouais, c'est ça qui me saoulait. C'est qu'en fait, à chaque map, c'était comme des cartes free-to-play, genre de Dokkan. Chaque map, t'avais des cartes à aller farmer. J'avais la putain de flemme, quoi. Ok.
Okay, so I kind of hit a snag whenever I was making this video. So when I was scripting it, I realized that
Ils en ont pas marre de sortir 15 000 jeux et genre il y a que Dofus qui tient. Bon, c'est une vraie question ça.
PS1 demo discs are super disturbing or scary, but that's not a bad thing because there are so many badass games on these things. Like Blast Cats, it's like a Bomberman inspired game where you go through these cool ass environments and play as cats. And then Bee Knighted where you play as a bee and it's like N64 graphics.
Parce que je jure que Wakfu c'était incroyable hein. Ça aurait pu mettre une tempête à Dofus hein, mais bon. Peut-être investissez constamment.
Not a lot of these would have fit very well at the very end of this video, and I really wanted to send you guys off with something super creepy and nightmarish.
Focus.
I recently played this game that we're about to get into, and it is one of the most eerie atmospheric games that I've played.
Ah, le problème c'est que c'est pas du tout le même game system quoi.
It is retro looking and it does have that like 90s-esque feel. But it has a story that is super creepy and I really enjoyed playing.
Mais ouais, je suis d'accord avec toi, ça aurait dû être une extension en fait.
I love playing video games. I love scary stuff and I know this video.
En fait, le problème de Dofus c'est que contrairement à FF14 le lore ne change rien au jeu en fait. C'est pour ça que FF14 est trop bien parce que le scénario devient de plus en plus solide et t'as quand même ce fil conducteur qui fait évoluer ton expérience de joueur quoi. Dofus mec soit niveau 1 ou 200 tu seras toujours à Astrub, tu iras au même hôtel de vente, tu iras au même map, tu iras à Bourta à Brakmar pour faire tes trucs.
Now I'm just rambling. So I guess without further ado, this next this next game is a personal pick from me. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I guess roll it.
Ah ouais, tu trouves?
This is Growing My Grandpa.
Oh là, ok.
An atmospheric retro point-and-click horror game.
Oh, j'aime bien les point-and-click.
The game
Pas y
takes
jouer,
place
mais
over a
regarder.
5-week span, in which we take the role of a school guidance
Whoa.
counselor evaluating a student named Adrian. Reportedly, she's undergone a string of sudden demerits, prompting concern about her home life. The parent-teacher report we're given tells us that Adrian is often left alone, and even when around her parents, they're cold, bitter, and constantly arguing. For most
Peter,
of her
faster,
convo,
stronger.
Adrian appears reticent. However, when the topic of the family basement arises, she opens up, explaining odd phenomena lurking down there.
En même temps, désolé de le dire, mais la gamine a une gueule. T'as fait Grim Fandango? J'ai l'impression que tu me racontes une connerie. Je vais pas checker sur cet onglet-là, du coup. Ah, ce truc! Non. Tim Schafer, ça me parle. Pas le gars de Monkey Island? Ah si, ok. Non, j'ai pas fait ce truc, c'est bien. Je crois que c'est ressorti sur Steam récemment, enfin genre l'année dernière ou il y a 2 ans.
Old photos of relatives. An ominous doll. Books about rituals.
Attends, c'est le conseiller d'orientation qui va fouiller chez la gamine là?
A letter about a severe accident involving a man named William. And a prison cell inside the back room.
C'est genre un peu malsain et tout comme jeu? Ou c'est un jeu parodique comme Bad Fur machin là, ok, voilà.
So we ask her what it is she does with the items she finds.
Bad Fur D là,
To which she explains
de N64.
just 2 words. Grandpa lives in the cage in the other room, the cage behind the door. They grew people in the cage.
What?
Adrian then explains how she read the magic book before taking the doll, gluing her grandfather's photo onto it, and placing it inside the cell with just one wish. For the return of her grandpa.
Ok. Bah si c'est pas trop long, je peux le faire en vrai. Mais faut pas que ce soit 25-30 heures de point and click, ça va me gaver par contre.
During week 2, we again meet with Adrian. Curiously, her demeanor is a complete change from what it was prior. She's conversational.
Bon, pour l'instant c'est un peu boring.
It appears that she's healing from what it was that plagued her. Curious, we probe about her grandfather, yet expect more childlike fantasy.
Heures, ça va, c'est ok.
During this session, Adrian explains her method of feeding and caring for her growing grandpa. And when we take her perspective again, we're finally able to witness what it is she's referring to.
Et pourquoi il est là, lui? Genre ton psy, il va pas fouiller tes chiottes, quoi. Bon, par contre, le travelling est... Le travelling est angoissant de ouf, hein. Papy?
From here, the game leaves us on our own, with multiple options on how we can care for and grow this creature that we hauntingly refer to as Grandpa.
Ah non, c'est la gamine là.
And so, upon exploring the basement, we clean up trash and uncover food and items that we can use to both feed and verbally train our amalgamation. On top of this, we'll uncover documents from past experiments with Whiskers, outlining their personal experiences with it. What it likes, what it doesn't, how to properly store food, and the fact that it will eat anything because it's the mere act of feeding that matters to it. And once we finally get the ball rolling, the feeding process is not orthodox by any means, because we quite literally place food into a mouth. Somewhere on this thing.
Quoi? C'est répugnant.
In week 3, Adrian's recovery is smooth sailing. We had done some research in the meantime and found that her grandfather, Dr. Jacob Hart, had purchased land and constructed a building for a psychological anthropology project. Unfortunately, he died in a car accident shortly thereafter. And bizarrely, a grad student who was helping him had vanished without a trace around the exact same time. Now, with this knowledge, we chalk this up as the reason behind Adrian's outlandish stories. It's likely a coping mechanism. Yeah, that's all it is. This week, strange growths begin emerging from the basement walls. Odd, pulsating sacs that we can't do much with currently, but they've got a purpose. And so we clean up more trash, gather more food, vocab cards and documents, and tend to Grandpa once more. Interestingly, once we induce vomiting by feeding him an inedible item like a battery, he spits out scissors that we can use to break those sacs open. And when doing so, we discover a small, fleshy creature that Grandpa might like. Even though documents explicitly warn
Et par contre, tous les
against it.
jeux ont les bruitages de Silent Hill ou c'est moi qui suis complètement matrixé?
Grandpa is growing at an alarming rate. He's taken the form of a human
Wish, le pote de Biruche.
to finally speak.
Bon, c'est vraiment une grosse blague de geek puant fan de Dragon Ball, ça.
Adrian converses with him, asking about his life,
Bah.
his shell, and his existence. And the information he divulges paints a broader picture on the way Whiskers operates. He tells Adrian that he can take the form of however he's imagined. For instance, if she perceives it as her
Bof,
grandpa,
celle-là, j'avoue,
that's
pas
how
ouf.
it'll present itself, made possible
Pas mon
through
plein
picking up her
potentiel,
ambient
j'ai pas mes
thoughts
4
when she's
doublons.
nearby.
Allez hop, deuxième vanne de gros
Furthermore,
geek puant.
he can never
Fan de
truly
DBZ.
die,
Enfin,
no
de DB.
matter how much the scientists claim
De
so in
DB.
their research documents.
Dragon Ball Dokkan Battle.
At every cost,
Putain, j'avais jamais capté.
self-sustainability is its goal, even if it takes psychological
DB.
manipulation with whoever is studying it.
Putain, il m'assomme en fait ce jeu. Il m'assomme de ouf.
Something is wrong.
Oh, elle s'est fait bouffer. Tiens, c'est ouvert ça.
Grandpa is nowhere to be found, and you and I are left with no other option but finding him.
Ah, ça va peut-être être terrifiant là. Comment ça, je pouvais l'entendre entendre mes pensées? Je pouvais sortir. Bon après c'est simple de faire un truc flippant dans un truc comme ça. Et là, ah, c'est moi, papy.
We chalk this up to nothing but a bad dream, yet notice that Adrian is twitching uncontrollably. And from here, she claims that Grandpa as we know him is dead, yet in a way lives on. Inside of her,
c'est la gamine de la recette en fait.
now, this is but one of two endings, and if we entertain the other, we'll find that things play out quite a bit differently.
Quite a bit differently.
Heading back to week 4, if we ignore the warnings about feeding Grandpa flesh, we find that he becomes ecstatic when we give it to him. In return, a proboscis juts out of his body, and upon grabbing it, Adrian initiates some sort of unknowable ritual. Upon exploring the basement, she finds photos of her mother, her father, and 2 paper dolls. And upon juts out of his body,
Huh?
and upon grabbing it, Adrian initiates some sort of unknowable ritual. Upon exploring the basement, she finds photos of her mother, her father.
Je suis passé pour un connard, mais c'est une meuf ça, non?
Father and 2 paper dolls, and upon presenting these to Grandpa, it absorbs the items, reportedly instilling her with this concrete sense of completion.
Oh, oh non, c'est pas ce que je pense quand même. La fin là.
We again meet with Adrian for the last time, and she explains that back home, something had changed.
Pardon.
Her parents weren't arguing, yet she heard a weird noise from the basement.
Mais comment ça, t'as des parents, tu vis dans
I think
un...
Grandpa had to leave,
dans une
but before he
déchetterie.
left, he made my parents nice, she claims. Before we witness what exactly that means.
Adam et Ève, sortez du jardin. Maybe even what I was
And
wondering.
still, believing this to be nothing but a childlike tale, we end our final meeting with the following note. I'm pleased to see things turn out this way, and if I may make a brief addendum. By happenstance, Miss Richardson bumped into the Hart family the other day while running an errand. She told me the parents were a little odd, but very pleasant, and quite clearly they adored their child. And that she had never seen Adrian happier.
Putain, je n'ai rien compris. Je n'ai rien compris à la fin. Si vous avez une explication, j'ai rien compris.
Growing my grandpa is an experience unlike any other. The story presented is more than anything.
La première fin, oui, mais la deuxième, j'ai rien
pigé,
pigé, hein.
Whether by her parents who can't even love themselves, or through her grandpa, who is quite literally dead. She has gone to the extent of ritualistic reincarnation to bring him back, to bring something back that will give her the affection she desperately needs. The genius behind growing my grandpa is that we know that Whiskers is dangerous. In the first 10 minutes of gameplay, we're given document after document warning us about the monstrosity that was being studied years ago. Yet given her childlike innocence and inner motive to bring her grandpa back, Adrian is none the wiser, and we as onlookers are left with no other option but to facilitate the creation of this monster. She goes as far as to dig through trash to gather Grandpa food, making direct contact with exposed batteries and fiberglass insulation. She cuts open pulsating sacks and rummages through the corpses awaiting inside, just to find something that Grandpa might like. And she even crawls through claustrophobic vents covered in grime, just to find the fleshy abomination clinging to its dying breath that she, even then, calls her Grandpa. And don't even get me started on how she's unfazed by this game's atmosphere and setting.
Mais du coup quoi?
This game is a haunting fever dream, wrapped up in a presentation that mimics virtual pet games of years past. Games is a horror genius, and if you haven't yet played this game, please do, as there are tons of lore
J'ai pas
documents
compris
that
la fin en fait.
Richardson bumped into the Hart family the other day. See the note, childlike.
Je commence vraiment à être très fatigué, mais.
Before we witness what
Moi, de ce que j'ai compris, c'est que le mob, avant de se barrer ou de se suicider, il a retourné le cerveau des parents. C'est ça?
And still, believing this to be nothing but a childlike tale, we end our final meeting with the following note. I'm pleased to see things turn out this way, and if I may make a brief addendum. By happenstance, Miss Richardson bumped into the Hart family the other day while running an errand. She told me the parents were a little odd, but very pleasant, and quite clearly they adored their child. And that she had never seen Adrian happier.
J'ai rien compris. J'arrive pas. Je n'arrive pas à comprendre la deuxième fois en fait. Genre en fait je comprends pas. Elle faisait des courses la gamine et genre elle a rencontré une autre famille. Et elle était très contente. Et quoi? Et à un moment elle dit qu'ils aiment plus les enfants que leurs enfants. Ah non, ok. Non, ok. Je vais chercher trop loin. Mrs. Richardson, c'est pas du tout la gamine en fait. C'est genre un prof. Ok. Ça a chier. Juste la fin 2, ça a chier. C'est genre en gros le mob il a retourné le cerveau de ses parents et du coup ils sont gentils. Oh, wow. Vraiment, c'était ça ton dernier jeu? Celui-là était bien plus... Genre, la première démo, elle lui met une... Ça c'était bien. Ça c'était bien. Ça c'était un peu trippy, mais c'est ok. C'est cool. Ça c'est génial. Ça c'est cool de ouf. Topia très fort, bah c'est Ecostasis très fort. Ouais, les trois derniers jeux de la dernière compil sont pas ouf. Hein. Bon bah super. En vrai, je vais vous lâcher là. Je suis. De toute façon, ça doit se voir. Je suis moins. Non, je suis là plutôt. Je suis moins frénétique que d'habitude. Elle est levée à 5h sans raison. Ah ouais! Et ben figure-toi que c'est à l'heure où je suis allé me coucher et je me suis fait réveiller à 10h du matin. Je t'ai rap à 5h, ouais, jure. Là, j'ai même pas grillé. 6h25. Et 1h25 de sommeil, c'est super important, ok? Mon caca maybe. Putain le caca de fou. Bon bah 1h45 aux chiottes. Ah j'ai trop hâte là d'être vendredi. Putain, que si t'as ce perso là, tu vas te mettre trop bien. Ce perso là, à la base, je le détestais de ouf quand il est sorti. Déjà parce que comparé à Piccolo, il y a vraiment... Enfin, il y a une différence. Ouais, il y a une différence de tanking, mais... Le problème, c'est que ce perso a pas de lien, mais en fait, il est tellement fort qu'il n'y a pas besoin de Link. Je sais pas si t'as vu le film, Clem. Dragon Ball Super Super Héros. Bah, il est sur mon site, hein. Je l'ai revu dessus il y a 2 jours. Putain, qu'est-ce qu'ils sont nuls les Black Goku. Et vraiment, c'est un truc de ouf, hein. En plus, il enchaîne l'espé, donc... En plus d'être nul, il me fait perdre du temps, ce bâtard. Il tank rien en plus. Il a contre-type, hein. Le mec en face, c'est tech, je suis int. Et mon... c'est vraiment n'importe quoi, parce que... Dans la rota, j'avais un Gohan futur endu. Il a fait 1 700 000 crits. Par contre, le Black Goku contre-type plus catégorie, il a fait 2 fois 300 000. Va te faire foutre, mec. Bref. Ouais, je m'arrache. Des bisous, à demain, FF7. Let's go. CD2, tout ça. J'essaierai de plier le CD2 demain. Je pense qu'en 6 heures... Quoique... En fait, c'est long parce que je passe pas les dialogues, hein. Sinon, le jeu aurait genre 7 heures en moins sur le compteur. Bref, on verra demain. Vas-y, des bisous. Merci d'être passé. Faites une bonne soirée, des bisous.